And so we talked about this issue last week, and you guys did make a motion at that point in time to join in this lawsuit. This is a lawsuit that's being brought by Mesa County against the state of Colorado. It's a lawsuit alleging that the state's robbery, I guess you would call it, of the state severance tax fund, or the severance tax fund, is contrary to state statute. In essence, state statute is set up in a way that every single year money is transferred into the local government severance fund for local governments to use. Last year, I believe we got $650-some thousand in that local government severance tax fund. The state is now attempting to pull quite a bit of money out of that fund, and I think it's based on our calculations, it might actually exhaust that fund down to zero if the state does what they're proposing to do. And so Mesa County is heading up a lawsuit that's going to try to stop this from happening. And several counties have already joined in that lawsuit, and you guys indicated last week that you wanted to join in that lawsuit as well. This is just a resolution authorizing us to join, and then just kind of describing a little bit about what's happening and why we want to join in this lawsuit. Obviously, in joining this lawsuit, Mesa County is going to be heading it up. I, along with other county attorneys around the state and counties that have joined, will provide any assistance that we need to provide. And this just authorizes me to file any documents and sign any documents that are necessary to forward our position in that lawsuit. And certainly as the lawsuit moves along, I'll keep you guys updated and certainly run any filings by you.
All right, very good. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
No.
Go ahead.
I move to approve Resolution 9-2024, a resolution authorizing litigation against state of Colorado to challenge the provisions of Colorado revised statutes related to the severance tax fund.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept Resolution number 9, 2024, a resolution authorizing litigation against the state of Colorado to challenge provisions of the Colorado revised statutes related to the severance tax fund. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What do you need? All three signatures are on there. Yeah. Okay, gosh, it's going to be a super quick meeting. All right, Ian, I'm going to let you go to your report.
Yeah, so last week, I worked with planning and zoning, and we certified the record into our Leaf Properties civil case involving the dollar store litigation. That happened on Friday. We have a case management conference in that case this Thursday. At that point in time, we will work on setting deadlines and just kind of mapping the trajectory of the case. At this point, I think the big issue for the case management conference is how the claims are going to be handled. Leaf Properties made two separate claims. One is a claim alleging that our land use code is invalid on its face and trying to invalidate the code because it's too vague. The second claim is a Rule 106 review, where they're asking for a review of your guys' decision as to the Dollar General and the high impact permit. And so it's my hope that we can get those claims separated. I'm going to argue at the case management conference that it certainly makes sense to resolve the challenge to the land use code first, because depending on how that resolves, then that will influence how the Rule 106 action goes. In other words, if the land use code is declared invalid, then there's no reason to do a 106 action, more than likely. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know that the court will necessarily rule on that at the case management conference, but that is the issue that's on the table, and so we'll take that up on Thursday. Yesterday, Mr. Haley and I joined with the district attorney and one of his deputies, and we drove around to some of the problem properties in the county. We looked at a couple of those properties and kind of made a decision for one in particular for the DA to file a public nuisance action. He's been talking about it for quite some time, and I think that he's ready to move forward on that. I will tell you in driving around, and I think Don can probably join in this as well, we went to some of the problem properties south of town that we've had issues with, and we were pleasantly surprised by some of the improvements that have been made to those properties. It was a significant difference from what we've seen previously. And so, I think that's certainly a good sign. I think that the letters that Don sends out obviously are having an impact. I mean, we saw dumpsters on the property. At least on one of the properties, the view from the front was like, wow, it didn't look like the same place. So that was certainly positive. And then we're looking at a property kind of out by Totten to possibly bring this public nuisance action. So hopefully that's a step forward. I don't think that the district attorney has brought these in this county, at least since I've been here, and I don't know if ever. And so, certainly the first one will be a bit of a test case, and if it's effective and it works, then that would be great. Certainly one thing for the board to consider in these public nuisance actions is, one of the things that can happen out of a public nuisance action is an order for abatement and a right of entry. That's something that's a lot more difficult for us to get out of our land use code enforcement statutes. And so if the court were to order abatement or order a right of entry, it would certainly conceivably fall on the county to help maybe clean up some of those spaces. And so, again, that's going to be in your guys' purview, but I know you guys have expressed an interest in seeing some of these properties cleaned up, and some of them are quite bad. And so, that might be something for this board to at least keep in the back of their minds, because, a public nuisance statute, you can get, certain sanctions criminally and otherwise, but ultimately, the big point of this is to try to get some of those properties cleaned up. And a lot of the owners and people who occupy the properties probably don't have the assets to conduct a significant cleanup. So just something for the board to consider. Any questions on that?
No, I think the only thing that I want to make the public aware of again is that we did take that into consideration, and I think Commissioner Copenhaver, you made the suggestion at that time that we did put that money aside to help those people just in that case. So we didn't want to just say, hey, we're staring down at you and to try and get this done. We're actually here to try and help you make sure that you do get it done. So some of those funds have been exhausted. I think last year they handed out vouchers, which helped significantly, but we are here. We are trying to help with those, and mostly the environmental cleanups are the bigger ones that we're looking at to try and get cleaned up.
Yeah, and this might be a situation in which, like, we're not just looking to help. We've got a court order that allows us to go in and do whatever we need to do, in essence, to get that situation alleviated. So that's certainly positive. I've got a meeting with attorneys that represent the PAX Corporation down on Road 41. That meeting's later today. They did send me a letter last night with a proposal for fence removal and a timeline. So I'll share that with Rob, and then I'll meet with them this afternoon, and we'll see where we want to go.
Okay. I smile because I've been dealing with this since 2019.
I have as well. And I think in talking with Rob, I think that there's a general consensus that the parameters of that road were set forth after several years of litigation and a whole lot of filings and a whole lot of hours in the office for a lot of different attorneys that helped us, including John and I. And so, the fence needs to move, and it needs to move fast. And I think that there's not much of a legal issue here. The road's been set out. So yeah, we'll meet this afternoon and figure out next steps. But I think that whole thing's coming to a head.
Hopefully their timeline is not another 5 years to get the fence removed.
That is not the timeline that was proposed. But so yeah, I'll update you guys next week. I think next week we'll have a sense of whether we've got consensus on what's going to happen, or whether we're going to need to go to court again and get this straightened out.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
Travis?
I don't have a whole lot. It was real busy this week, but mostly administrative stuff. I think the biggest thing for the community commissioners to know is Friday we had a emergency meeting with CCI regarding property tax Initiative 50 and Proposition 108 and a potential compromise. And that compromise come from concerned citizens in Colorado, who is the proponents of these two initiatives and propositions, requesting a special session. And I'll let you expound, Commissioner, on the details, but as I understand it, Initiative 50 and Proposition 108 would result in a $1.8 billion loss financially to the state, and what they're proposing is a compromise of $118 million loss versus $1.8 billion.
I thought it was $158 million loss.
Maybe it was 158.
Yeah.
So, and that was the biggest thing that we dealt with this week, so finances.
Well, and that was also another reduction in property taxes. How they got to the reduction was to then again move the RAR down to 6.3 residential assessment rate. So in the last year, after the last special legislative session, we went from the 7.15, I believe, and now we're gonna it'll be all the way down to 6.2 or 6.3, depending on what they can agree on, and or if it even happens, because of they actually have to call for a special session, which nobody really likes special sessions. It's just they're supposed to take care of this stuff during the time frame that they have for sessions, instead of dropping 708 bills on the table. That anyway, another discussion to be had after that. But yeah, that's the crux of it. It's just another impact. So your taxes have went down significantly, your property taxes, and I don't know how that will affect anybody as far as special districts, but it probably won't be great for them either. But again, more to come as that gets closer. They did say that would have to happen this month, in the month of August. All right, with that, I'll let you go, Commissioner Lindsay.
I don't have too much to report. I thought I was going to City Council tonight, but I messed up and I'm not going tonight, so it's not the second Tuesday I thought it was. Oh, well. I went to County Fair over the weekend, multiple times I went to County Fair. It was put on very well, I thought. A little bit of consideration giving the avian flu, and they separated the poultry out and put it upstairs at the fairgrounds, so at the main building. And there was a lot of plastic up there and a lot of shavings, but they got her cleaned up really well. A lot of good participation, and I want to thank all the buyers and all the participants and the sponsors, but especially the fair board. I mean, the last 2 weeks of fair are pretty confusing, pretty hectic for those people, and for them to volunteer to do their times to put on an event like this, they are to be commended. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Copenhaver.
This past week, we did hire a new director for AAA. So that's moving forward. We went through the interviews and stuff, and they actually hired somebody on Thursday, I think, this past week, or they offered him the job anyway. I also spent some time out at the fair with my grandkids, and I want to echo what Kent was saying. I don't think people realize how much time those fair board members put in, but I guarantee you what, it's probably at least 3 to 4 hours a day for the last couple of weeks before that fair, and during that fair, they're out there constantly. Even those kids, when you look at those kids by the end of the week, they've had it. I mean, Sunday with cleaning up out there, those kids, you could tell they were just wore out. They had been through a lot for the week, and it's a good experience for them. I mean, it's good for them, but it's also challenging, not only to the fair board members, but to those kids to sustain that for a whole week and that level of activity going on and on. So I would want to extend my thanks to all those people that are on that fair board, because they deserve it, because they're willing to put in that much time for these kids, and it's a lot. It's way more than most people realize. They think they meet once a month or something. Why, I guarantee what, that last couple of weeks before the fair and during that fair, they're at it. Most days, all day long out there. So thank them if you see them.
You bet.
All right.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Commissioner. And like Commissioner Lindsay and Commissioner Copenhagen, I too would like to express my thanks and gratitude for all the help that the Fair Board gives us. And it is a thankless job. As a matter of fact, all of the boards that we appoint are thankless jobs, but they are needed, and appreciate them all. I did have a Housing Authority meeting Tuesday after our meeting last week. A lot of things going on there. We are moving forward with the Housing Authority, Montezuma County Housing Authority. Thursday, spent all day with the Budget Committee here, going over our budgets. And then as Administrator Anderson said, we had a special meeting on Friday with CCI discussing Proposition 50 and 108. The signatures are now secured for 108, so that can go on the ballot. And then, as we discussed previously, the possibility of a special session. Went to spend all morning over at the Boggy Draw Beatdown. So I think we were all around and about the entire community this weekend. I think they set a new record for the Boggy Draw Beatdown over there. For the bike race, they had several different races. I think they had an 18, a 33, a 60, and a 3. So they had participation from every age group that you can possibly imagine, and that seemed to go off very well also. Our workshop yesterday, we took care of all the things that we talked about today: our opioid settlement, our secure transportation permits, our gaming impact grant, and our resolution to join the lawsuit against the state of Colorado. And with that, that is all that I have.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this August 6, 2024 meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.